Well, today's episode is going to be a very interesting one. As you know, Stardom had the recent event, Flashing Champions, where we have, of course, four title matches that includes the High Speed title, the Goddesses of Stardom, the Artists, and of course, the Double Crown Championship match between Tam Nakano and Mina Shirakawa. Then, of course, we move on. As you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling closes the tournament of the Best of the Super Juniors to see who wins out this year's tournament. Will it be the way of the Grand Master, Master Wato, or the experienced Desperado? That is something we definitely going to be reviewing. And then, of course, AEW are in Las Vegas once again for Double or Nothing. We're going to have a spectacular show. We're going to see what takes place throughout the entirety. And of course, we ended with, of course, two updates going on to see what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with Stardom with the latest show of, Flashing Champions. This took place this past Saturday, I believe. We have a very interesting how things have been going in this one. So let's get started. Our opening match, we have Rebel X Enemy, consistent of Maika Ozaki and Ram Kaicho. They take on uh, Aya Sakura and, of course, Suri. Now, of course, with this match, I kind of figured that this is going to end with Rebel X Enemy due to the fact that Sakura is, in fact, um, the newcomer. Most of the when we see newcomers, we expect them they kind of lose, but they do showcase their skills. I think Suri may be fond of her due to the fact that she has something that maybe is similar style as her, but however, she ended up on the wrong side of the um, Argentinian torture rack by Ozaki, forcing her to tap out. But I did saw this on Twitter where, of course, Ozaki seems that she likes her form as a martial artist, and she gave her a good compliment. I think she's only doing that just to get under the skin of Waka Tsukiyama due to the fact that she criticized her for her what she did, leaving Cosmic Angels, jumping to Club Venus. But that's a conversation for another time. Now, our next match we have, of course, Oedo Tai, consistent of young Oedo, consists with Rina, Ruka, and Starlight Kid, taking on Queen's Quest, Hina, Sayakami Tani, and Utami Ishida. Now, recently we have been seeing some interesting um, tournament events when it comes to Queen's Quest. We have been seeing right now that there's been frustrations amongst members between Utami Ishida and Sayakami Tani. Now, the obvious thing is, can they coexist? Well, there was a moment where, of course, Kamitani screwed up, accidentally misfired, and hit Hayashida, but she was able to make up for what happened by picking up the win with the Frankensteiner onto Ruka to give them the win. But however, it seems that things are not going so well for them. But however, I feel bad for Hina, who is like in the middle of this watching, like we always say, you're watching your parents fight over, like during a divorce, that sort of thing. But we'll see. We'll talk more about them in a little bit. Now, our next match, we have Club Venus, consistent of Jesse, um, Xena, Mariah May, and Waka Tsukiyama taking on Stars with Hanan, um, Koguma Azuki, and Mayu Utani. Now, this match, as you know, Koguma has been dealing with Mariah May, bringing her little sexy side all the time. She's been going, saying the X, like saying sexy is prohibited whenever they try to do the bear pose that she always does. But however, what I did find interesting about this match is that Mariah May has one thing on her site, and if you guys saw it, and those who haven't seen it yet, let me explain that. She has her sights set on the IWGP Women's Championship. So she did tell Utani saying, um, "I want a IW title shot, bitch." So basically, that's what she wanted. But however, I had to say Mayu was luckily that she wasn't pinned for by Mariah to get a title shot, but it was Hanan who picked up the win when she applied the 17 onto who was it? Onto Walk, I think, onto Jesse, giving Stars the win. But you know for a fact this is where people are now talking that they would like to see Mariah May challenge for the IWGP title. However, there's still no word if that's going to happen, but I'm sure many fans are really want to see that happen. Now our next match we have Hanako teaming up with members of the Neo Stardom Army, Yuna Mizumori and Nana Takahashi. They take on a very interesting team. Now, we have seen Mei Sita and Suzuki team up on various occasions. They seem they can get along great. But however, they team up with Micah from DDM. Now, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to explain something to everybody. I feel that I have this strange theory about this. What I did like about this match is somehow Zuzu and Micah can get along great. And what I think I like is when, of course, if you guys ever seen May Sita, she comes out with balloons. There was a moment where Micah's like, okay, what's with the balloons? But I think that's a great personality. Like you have like two of the toughest wrestlers with a very overexcited wrestler, but not, but nonetheless, I felt that Micah and Zuzu really, really got along great, and it was May who picked up the win when she applied the drop kick onto Hanako, giving them the win. But I feel like I don't know. I have that distinct feeling that somewhere down the line, what if Micah decides to leave DDM and forms a unit with Zuzu and Mei Sita? I mean, that is the strong possibilities. I don't know what you guys would think of that, but I would like to see that because I know Zuzu has no intentions to align herself with Julia, despite the fact that certain people who I've been hearing they believe, oh, there will be the time where Zuzu will reunite with Julia and join DDM, but that's only yet to be seen until that time. Now, our very first title match is the high speed title. We have a three-way match for this one. We have Fukigen Death and versus Saki Kashima versus Azumi. Now, we know Saki Kashima has already challenged for this belt, but unfortunately, it did not go exactly her way. But somehow she requested for a rematch. For this, Azumi had no problems. Now, I think this, but however, the advantage of this, we know that since Fukigen Death and Saki Kashima are both part of the same unit, Oedo Tai, that puts Azumi in a disadvantage. Most likely it is. But however, of course, at some point we're going to see Fukigen and Kashima turn on each other so they can find out who's going to win, which exactly did happen. But however, it was Kashima with the much of reversals going around with the Kishikase, um, and she pinned Fukigen to pick the win the high speed title. This is I believe Kashima's very first singles run. But Azumi was not pinned. I wouldn't be surprised if she will get a rematch. But the obvious question is, what's next for her? Well, we're gonna see some good things with Kashima as a high speed champion. Now, our next match is the Goddess of Stardom titles. Oedo Tai members Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora issued the challenge against God's Eye tag teams New Eras, Mirai, and Amisori. So you probably can guess that there was going to be a lot of cheating in this, particularly because Oedo Tai likes to interfere on every level. I mean, we know there's the other members outside, like Ruka, Rina, and everybody else who would try to be on their side. That's always been the obvious case. But in this moment, it was Mirai who picked up the win by pinning Natsuko Tora to retain the titles. Now, this is where many fans talked about this at the post match. Now, normally we would see, of course, the winners talk, but it was overshadowed. I feel like they did a wrong here not giving the winners the opportunity to embrace their win, but it was overshadowed with the fact that Queen's Quest members instantly came out and issued a challenge against Oedo Tai. Now we have seen Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest battle each other for many years. They are two of the oldest units in Stardom. So I don't know exactly. I feel like history is repeating itself with this one. The last time these two teams had an interaction was back in 2021 when Momo Watanabe betrayed Queen's Quest. She was the leader at the time. But the obvious thing does tell, I'm starting to ask myself, are we gonna see another betrayal with Queen's Quest? I mean, look, I feel like at the moment, Queen's Quest hasn't been a strong unit since Momo left. And I feel like a part of me is telling me, what if they disband the unit in some capacity? I'm not sure if that's gonna happen, but I have that distinct feeling. I don't know what you guys would think, but we'll see when we get there. Now, our next match is another title match, is the Artists of Stardom titles. We have DDM's Body Body Bombers, consistent of Tekla Masakurai versus Restart, consistent of Sario Noi, um, Natsupoi, and our favorite pirate princess, Kairi. Now, this match was issued by, well, members of Anoi and Natsupoi were looking for challengers for those titles, but however, um, it was Body Body that issued. But the fact is that Julia has been criticizing two particular people. One is Kyrie and Anoi. Now, Anoi is the strange one. She questioned her, "Why are you with Cosmic Angels?" But she obviously thinks that she's there to betray Tam in some capacity. But I have another theory about that. I think that maybe Sorino is trying to get under the skin of Julia, but I will make a discussion video based on that, and we'll see what that goes. But the match itself was pretty well, but you can tell that we're going to see somehow one of particular matches we could see with Julia, with either facing Kyrie or Annoy in singles competition, or she'll have both matches in different timings. That is something that was strange. But however, there was a misfire in this match when Natsupoi accidentally kicked Annoy, not realizing what she has done, but she constantly blamed herself for this. But Kyrie tried to reason with everybody at the end that it's no one's fault, but they should have known how smart Julia can be. But of course, Julia takes great pleasure seeing how people loses. But I can tell this is not over between Sario Noi and Julia. Sooner or later, they will butt heads again. However, the next challengers announce themselves is none other than Stars, consistent with um, Mayo Iwatani, Koguma, and Azuki. However, their type of match is something that these three have been familiarized. If you guys remember last year, they were in a cage match against members of Queen's Quest. Mayu was the one who was scared of this match. But the obvious thing is Julia scared of this match? That's something. She seems like she is, but she's not going to tolerate that people like them try to ruin her thunder. But we'll see how that plays out. Now, our main event is the Double Crown Championship. The red belt, aka the Wonder of Stardom, and the World of Stardom belt, aka the red belt, that are put on the line. Winner take all type of match. This match was issued by Mina Shirakawa, who's been hell bent trying to surpass her former friend and leader of the Cosmic Angels, Tam Nakano. But however, Tam was a bit of reluctant, but however, her mistake was calling out Tam. Tam claims that she will walk out, but you can tell that recently in this match, Mina has become more predictable than ever. Every move she applied, like the figure four, the which one? The collective, the glamorous driver, they did not work. But however, Tam was. But one thing I did always talked about with Mina, how methodical she is by targeting the knees of her opponents. That's always been the case. But it did not stop Tam's spirit, even no matter how much Mina tried to put it. But it took a violet screwdriver, and then of course the tiger suplex, or as we know it, the Twilight Dream, to put away Mina, naming Tam Nakano to win the Double Crown Championship match and she is the second one. However, Mina cannot believe she lost again. She felt that she had Tamra she wanted, but she did tell her in the post match that she's always welcome back. But for her, it's hell. Like thing is, Mina will not get the position that she had the last time since she left, so she decided to leave. And of course, many fans have often spoken about this. Now, let's talk a little bit about this before I end things for this match. Many fans question why did this happen? Why did they put Mina as the shortest stint? I mean, it kind of is strange. I mean, many of us have thought this match was going to end in a draw, and I'm sure some of you thought the same thing too. But I'm going to presume in this particular match was decided by none other than Rossy Ogawa. That's something we have seen. If you guys remember, it was Rossy Ogawa who confessed that he was the one who thought that it was best to put Tam Nakano to win the red belt, because as you know, Tam is 35 years old and she's still in her top game regardless. So I think maybe that was another scenario they want to play where Tam um, has to be on her top game before she decides to retire. Now, keep in mind, she is not going to be in Stardom forever, but we'll see what happens. But however, as soon as the match was over, Mina left. Here comes the next challenger, and it's the two-time winner of the Cinderella tournament, Mirai. Now, Mirai issued the challenge for the white belt only. Now, Tam was a bit more confused. Like, are you sure you want the white belt? Well, it seems like that's what she wants. So we'll be seeing a little bit about that. So I was a bit surprised about that. I think that's going to happen later on. I think I talked about this before, but we'll see. I think that's pretty much it with Stardom. So let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, the best of Super Juniors is now drawing to a close. Who will walk out? Will it be the way of the Grand Master, um, Master Wato, or my bad, I made the wrong assumption earlier in the video. It's not Despy, it's of course Titan, the Immortal. I'm kind of I got confused on that. I don't know. I don't know why I keep saying Despy. Maybe because he's one of my favorite wrestlers. I don't know. But anyway, so who will walk out? So, but the best part about that, these are two of the very first time these two guys get involved in the whole thing. So let's talk about that a little bit. So let's a little later, but let's talk about the matches. As always, we have the opening match involving the Young Lions. We have um, Oscar Lobe teaming with Yuto Nakashima. They take on Oleg, Bolton Oleg and Togi Makabe. Now, kind of figured this match was definitely going to go um, with Togi Makabe and Oleg because you know Makabe is the veteran of this, and he ended it with the King Kong leg drop. So, kind of figured that was going to end that way. Now, our next match we have Rohei Oiwa taking on Clark Connors. Kind of figured this match was definitely going to end with Clark Connors since Rohei is still the young line. He lost by Clark Connors applied the no chaser, ending him. But however, he decided to wipe him out once attacking him once the match was over, even though he had no reason to do it, but he did it anyway. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting one. We have TMTK, consistent of Kosta Fujita and Robbie Eagles taking on Yo and Leo Rush. Now, this is a very interesting part. As you know, Fujita has been on a roll because the previous night, 2 days prior before this one, he took out Ghetto, giving him a good win on this one. But he's facing against the winner, last year's winners of the Super Junior Tag League, Leo Rush and Yo. But I kind of figured this was going to end with them winning since they have been on a roll in recent time. It was Leo Rush who picked up the win with the final hour, and it was done right from there. Next up, we have United Empire, consistent of Dan Maloney, um, Francisco Kira, TJP, Aaron Hinare, and Great Khan. They take on um, Kevin Knight and Kushida, the Jet Setters. They team up with Satoshi Kojima, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, and Yuji Nagata. Now, I was surprised to see Nagata. He was carrying the Triple Crown title. I I kind of figured that somehow one of the either Khan or Henare will probably would love to challenge that title, but they have to go to all Japan to do that. But this match was very intensified because, as you know, um, the United Empire are trying to get back on track. We don't know when Akira or TJP will challenge for the junior heavyweight tag team titles, but it could happen sometime. But it was the Street of Rage by Hinare onto, was it Tenzan? Yeah, on Tenzan to pick up the win. But however, while the other members left, Hinare and Great Khan stayed watching the match, tried to um, you know, see what's gonna happen because apparently the next match was the House of Torture show Yujiro and Evil taking on Chaos, consistent of Yano and Bushimon, Goto and Yoshihashi. However, as you know, House of Torture feels like it's a load of crap that, you know, that Hinare and Great Khan are getting themselves involved in business that doesn't concern them. However, Evil decided to attack Hinare and Khan, drag them in, try to turn this match into a no disqualification. I don't know if they were trying to hope that this match doesn't turn into a three-way, but that was the biggest mistake. However, you know, what happened is when they dragged in, Goto and Hashi thought they were getting themselves involved, even though Hinare and Khan tried to plead with them, saying we had nothing to do with it. But however, because of this, it forced Yoshihashi and Goto to say, okay, let's turn this match into a three-way. I'm sure that's what Khan and Hinare wanted it, but I don't know what Evil and the others think about. I don't know if they're playing some sort of trick, but we'll see what happens until we get to Dominion. Now, our next match, this is a very interesting one. We have Mike Bailey teaming up with Shota Umino, and of course, members of Strong Style, Ren Narita and Despy. Okay, now I remember Despy was in this match. They take on Taguchi, Tanahashi, and of course, Chaos's Ishii and Okada. I have to say this is a pretty interesting matchup, how it was going to be. However, as you know, Shota Umino has been under the skin of Okada in recent time, trying to challenge for the never openweight six-man tag team. But in this case, it was Narita with the Cobra twist onto Taguchi to pick up the win. But the post match was awesome on this one. Of course, there was like a bit of a fight between both Desperado and Mike Bailey, and they got along great. They seem they can get along as competition, but at the same time as tag team. In the back during the post match comment, Desby's telling everybody how much he loves Mike Bailey, that he will love to challenge him, and of course, Mike Bailey says, "Sure, anytime, anywhere, I'm fine with it." So I would love to see those two not only just a face off, but the challenge, and I think many fans would like to see that. But that doesn't end right there. Shota Umino, as you know, he issued the challenge for the never openweight six-man tag team titles, but he said it's going to be me, John Moxley, and Claudio Castagnoli. So basically, this is the biggest surprise. Claudio will be involved in this, but but Okada is like saying, okay, but you better look into your teacher's eyes when you see you fail. So basically, Okada, who's been sick and tired of the younger wrestlers targeting him, he's hoping to teach them a lesson. But we'll see when we get there. But I am kind of excited for that because I would like to see Ishii and Claudio collide because, you know, Ishii doesn't back down, who is the strongest wrestler. That's always been something I've been paying attention to. So we'll get to that. Now, our next match, we have LIJ's Bushi, Hiromu, Shingo, and Naito taking on Just Five Guys, consistent of Doiki, Kanemaru, Taichi, and Sanada. Now, as you know, um, this this is a very interesting matchup as well. We have seen how LIJ are still trying to recover after Sanada made the choice to leave, but however, they're representing for the finals. Titan will be involved, but in this case, it was the Naito with the Destino to put away Doiki, giving him the win. However, we still don't know much about a certain situation. Now, if you guys remember back in Sakura Genesis or so, or was it that one? Um, Suji attacked just five guys, and then he did the little fist pump that normally Lij does. We don't know what's going on. Is he asking Naito, "I want to join"? I mean, Naito will probably keep that close to the vest. That's something I'm fully see that that's happening. Naito's not the kind of guy who just reveals secret. I mean, he did joke with us a couple years ago when it came to Shingo. When after Hiromu went out and they introduced Shingo, he made a joke that Milano was the newest member, even though he wasn't. So we still don't know. Those are still some unanswered questions. So we will find out soon enough. Now, our next match is the finals of the Best of the Super Junior. We do have Master Wato versus Titan. What a great match! I mean, this is the first time we've seen wrestlers do being participate in the finals for the very first time. We've seen like guys like Hiromu, Despy, who else can I think of? Possibly Shimori. But this is a very interesting one. Um, but I was happy to see that Tenzon was there for Wato, giving him more support, while Titan has Lij's by his side. But this match was pretty good. I have to say, it was a good, fresh perspective for me as a fan to say, okay, we get to see a new set of wrestlers who are in the finals for the very first time. What was amazing is this became a Cinderella story for Wato because he picked up the win when he applied the Resilimente 2 onto Titan, becoming this year's champion. So, you know what that means. That means he will be challenging Hiromu for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. I think many of us are probably excited to see that. So that's going to be something we definitely going to be looking for. Now, the obvious thing is, will this six place in Dominion or at a later time? That is something we still don't know yet. So we'll find out soon enough. But I think that's pretty much it right now with New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's time for AEW. Okay, our last review, AEW, double or nothing. It's a phrase we always seen before when you go to the casino, but this is AEW's annual show that we always say because it's the first show they ever done back in 2020, I believe. Yeah, or 2019, one of the two. But anyway, no, 2019 or 2018. Anyway, so our opening match is the Blackjack Battle Royale for the AEW International title. Now, this match was sort of the idea by Orange Cassidy. Now, keep in mind, there have been many wrestlers that say that they went to see Tony Khan asking for a shot at this title. So Orange thought, you know what? I'll take them all off. Let's put them in a battle royal. But you know what? Since we're in Vegas, let's call this, since there's 20 wrestlers and there's me, that makes 21, let's call it a Blackjack Battle Royal. Why not? Now, one thing I have noticed is how Kip Sabian, who has been a long-standing rival of Orange Cassidy, target him. There's been many wrestlers that even eliminated, but there's those like the high flyers that have to be more careful. But one thing, there has been some clear motives, like, of course, Ricky Starks got rid of both the Bullet Club Gold, not getting an opportunity of that. But I can skip toward the end. In the end, it was of course um, Orange Cassidy with Swerve. But one thing I did like is how this match ended, where we all thought maybe Orange Cassidy was about to do the Orange Punch, where we have seen the hand not been 100% well. So he decided, I'll just kick his hand, he just out, just like that. So I have to say, we have seen how Orange Cassidy is a, a very capable wrestler and a strong fighter, despite the fact of his uniqueness. But he is who he is. He's the king of sloth. Now, our next match is the unsanctioned match between Jericho and Adam Cole. Now, this happened after Adam Cole made his return to AEW after he had a big concussion last year at the last year's Forbidden Door. Garcia got in his face and decided to say that he's going to end him and it's going to be the last time anybody see him. But however, that match did not go so well for that. It ended with, of course, Cole winning. Jericho was a bit like, cannot believe that happened. And then once again, when Jericho defeated Keith Lee, Adam Cole shows up, gave him some comfort and support of his longtime rival and friend. And that kind of sets into the whole thing. But of course, we cannot forget what happened when Jericho aligned himself with the Outcast and attacked Britt Baker to make Adam Cole watch. And of course, Jericho, being the hypocrite that he is, saying that it's all Adam Cole's fault that happened to Britt. But you know this match was going to be a standout ball breaker because we saw Strong and Sabu being there. But there was the moment where we saw Britt Baker show up and give a, an ass beating to Jericho that he deserves. And of course, Saraya shows up, tries to get involved. Did not work. But of course, it took. If you guys seen these type of things when it comes to MMA fighters, when they're punching their opponent in the face and there's no way defending, Aubrey Edwards made the choice to say this match is done. Adam Cole is the winner. But of course, Jericho was not too pleased how this ended, saying that the ref should not have called it, but Aubrey had no other choice. So this coming Dynamite, we're gonna see a mixed tag team match. Jericho teams up with Saraya to take on Britt Baker and Adam Cole. Now our next match is the AEW World Tag Team Titles. We have Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus FTR. Now we know they have been targeting these titles, but of course Mark Briscoe was in fact assigned as the special guest referee. However, Lethal and Jarrett has been saying that Mark Briscoe will do the right thing and call this match in their favor. But however, Jarrett whacked Mark Briscoe with the guitar, and of course Aubrey Edwards, who of course has been on the bad side of um, let's as call them the dickwads, saying that they cost them the tag titles the last time. That Weasel Dutt tried to get involved, saying nope, you're not getting involved. And then of course the so-called Karen Jarrett whacked Aubrey Edwards in the head. Aubrey said this on Twitter, saying F Karen Jarrett. I wouldn't be surprised if she will slap her the next time they see her. That's gonna be fun. But however, the thing that went overturned is, of course, when Jarrett thought he had this match won, Dax Harwood kicked out. But his biggest mistake was the fact that he slapped Mark Briscoe. So he slapped him, telling him what you're doing, but Mark Briscoe had enough and slapped Jarrett back. And then the big rig onto Jarrett. FTR retained the titles. So this was the biggest mistake that Jarrett made by losing his temper, but that's his own fault. But however, as soon as the match was over, Ricky Starks was conducting an interview, but he was viciously attacked by Bullet Club Gold after they were so pissed that they were eliminated out of the Battle Royale. But luckily, Ricky Stark did get some help, and that is FTR. I wouldn't be surprised if FTR and Ricky Starks would team up at some point, but that's going to be good to watch. Now, our next match, we have the TNT title in a ladder match between Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. Now, as you all know, initially when this match was we thought this match was going to take place. We all thought it was going to be Luchasaurus, but no, it was of course going to be Christian Cage to challenge. And this match was a ladder match. Now, the advantage of this type of match, we know Christian Cage has been in various ladder matches throughout his career very successfully, but this is Wardlow's first time. So I have to say this was a much brutal match. There was a moment where we thought Christian Cage was already out, but Luchasaurus, on the other hand, tried to get involved. But the best part, of course, Wardlow did a swanton bomb right onto Luchasaurus. I thought it was great to see it. I thought fantastic. But it was, of course, Wardlow who walked away as the winner, retaining his title. Now, our next match is the AEW Women's Championship between Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter. Now, if you guys remember history clearly, when Jamie Hayter challenged for the title, apparently, Toni Storm felt that she was in a disadvantage because Jamie Hayter cheated, and now the tables have turned. Now it's her turn to get away with it. But, of course, the Outcasts attacked Toni Storm in the backstage, dragging her, trying to soften her up as much as possible for the advantage for Toni Storm to win. But however, Saraya was attacked once again by Britt Baker, and of course Sheeta did come out to help her, taking out what's her name, Ruby Soho. But it was of course the Storm Zero that finished off Tony Jamie Hayter's reign. But however, I think many fans are probably saying maybe Jamie Hayter's arm was not 100%. So we will see down the line who will be the next challengers for this particular title. Now, our next match, I have to say this was one of the most fun matches for me. It's for the AEW World Trios titles in an open house challenge. The Acclaim, along with Daddy Ass, taking on the House of Black. I like moments like where you see it's exciting because you saw Anthony Bowens being fearless, like he's saying, to get in the face of Malachi Black. I'm sure Malachi Black is not amused, but I'm sure he's probably amazed that he was showing no fear. I mean, the match was pretty good at the end, where, of course, Daddy Ass took care of business, but apparently he got black masked by Malachi Black, allowing for the House of Black to retain the trio styles. Now, the old saying goes, the house always wins. So the obvious thing is, who's going to be next? That's going to be a tough one. So we'll get to that at some point. Now, our next match is the TBS title. Now, this is a rematch to what happened a while back. As you know, that sniveling little weasel, Mark Sterling, cost Taya Valkyrie the match due to the fact that he forbade her from using the Road of Valhalla, saying that she stole the move from Jade. No, there have been many wrestlers that used that move long before Jade Cargill did. But unfortunately, this match ended with Jade Cargill winning the match, applying her move, the Jaded, giving her the win to 60. But however, because they're in Las Vegas, they decided to get lucky once again. So they issued an open challenge to anybody because now that Jade Cargill beat everyone that she needs to beat, apparently there was one she missed, and that is, of course, Chris Statlander. And it was a big surprise to see her. And she picked up the win when she applied the Nightshade onto her, giving her the chance to become the winner. Now, I'm going to speculate because now that Jade lost, she might be taking some time off, and we're going to see now Chris Sandler shine even more. I think this is a long time coming for many fans who are big fans of Chris Statlander, that we're going to see that. Now, our next match is the AEW World Title. Of course, everybody comes out, but I think the best interesting news is when we saw Sammy Guevara with his wife, Ty Mello. They announced that they're going to have a baby. So Ty Mello is pregnant with Sammy's baby, and congratulations to them. Now, the match itself was insane in every capacity. I mean, we got the four pillars of AEW, guys who've been with the promotion since day one. And I think that says it all. But, of course, Sammy Guevara, there was that one moment where, of course, MJF was trying to manipulate him to take the fall. It did not work. There was a moment where we saw Jungle Boy was about to cross the line, and he almost could have had it, but it didn't work. And of course, everybody did their mentors' moves. I mean, Jungle Boy did the Christian Cage's move. Darby Allin, the Scorpion Death Drop. What's his name? Sammy Guevara, the Code Breaker. And of course, MJF, the Crossroads. But, however, it was, of course, the sidelock takedown by MJF to put away Darby Allin to retain the title. So that's going to be very interesting. But he's getting bored that there's no one who's willing to take off the title off his cold, deaf hands. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see someone from New Japan that could challenge him for that title, but that's going to be another determination for another time. Now, our main event features the Anarchy in the arena. We got the Elite, consistent of the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page taking on Blackpool Combat Club, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, and Jon Moxley. Now, you can guess this match was an absolute anarchy wherever it goes. Either if it's in the arena, out with the crowd, or where the concession stands, even the damn parking lot. Everywhere was a freaking mayhem. But what I did like is, of course, is where somehow Matt Jackson put some sort of firecrackers and super kicked Jon Moxley. That was insane. I could not believe it. So that was very interesting. But however, at the end of this match, effing Don Callis showed up. He shows up to interfere. Now, before the event ever started, JR did conduct an interview to Don Callis asking him, why did you did what you did? So the obvious question is because he thinks that Kenny Omega was insecure, because he feels that Kenny Omega should be focused on more being as a solo. He has nothing against towards the Bucks. His issue is Kenny making decisions that feels like it's affecting him as the god of pro wrestling that he should be. So he feels that you tagging with the Young Bucks is a big mistake. But however, when of course Kenny was about to take out Don Callis, someone did a jumping knee onto Kenny, and it turned out to be none other than Konosuke Takeshita. So he betrayed the Elite in order to make sure that they lose. And of course, Kenny Omega was spiked by Wheeler Yuta with screwdriver and then applied the seatbelt, giving the Blackpool Combat Club the win. So, of course, Blackpool Combat Club will brag on Wednesday saying that they told him, we told you, we are the real Elite. But however, Kenny said this. It was not even air. He said, well, I'll call some non-AEW friends for help or two. So he said this thing with Blackpool Combat Club is not over. Now, when he said that, many people on social media are now saying, we think we know who could be one of them. He said that it's going to be Kota. They're saying it's Kota Ibushi. Now, we know Ibushi has talked about that he wants to make appearances in AEW. I wouldn't be surprised if that is. And some people are saying we probably will see blood and guts. That is something we could see down the line. But who was the second person he's referring to? Others are saying it could be Okada. I mean, it's more than likely it could, because we know that recently we did see how Kenny and Okada got along great, even though they were great rivals, but they can be a solid tag team together. And even Kenny felt it was a lot of fun. I mean, Okada said it was a lot of fun teaming with Kenny. He said he would like to do it again sometime. That is something we could definitely see down the line. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that in the Forbidden Door. So we'll just wait and see about that. I think that's pretty much it for now, what we have. So let's move on to our last thing, news updates. So we have some news updates. Now, as you know, as we speak, we have the Gatoh Move May Suruga 5th anniversary show taking place. Now, there has been some changes in the card, most specifically the main event. We were supposed to expect Mai Suruga challenging Stardom's talent and one of the newer wrestlers who's been around for almost over a year now, Miyu Amasaki, the Supernova. Now, for whatever reason, it was not been disclosed yet why she was unable to make it. But I'm sure Mai Suruga would like to have another opportunity when it rises. Or if I'm Mai Suruga, I would like to go to Stardom, challenge her at New Blood. I would say that would be the much obvious choice. But we will see when that happens. Now, however, because Miyu Amasaki was unable to participate, they called in another person, and that person is none other than Mai Suruga's tag team partner that she teams up mostly in Oz Academy, Momoko Anazono. I have to say that's a good choice. I mean, those two are like two peas in a pod as a tag team, but I like to see how they are as singles competitor facing off each other. That is something that we can definitely see. So I'm excited yet. Now, keep in mind this event will take place on YouTube, but they will not air it just yet. We have to give it some time until they aired it, and so on. But we'll see. Now, our final update, this one was coming from Fightful Select. Now, recently, as you know, I did reported that Orange Cassidy was being criticized by many people, saying that, he ruined pro wrestling because of his work with Shibata. But, Orange Cassidy said, I wanted to work with Shibata. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, there's nothing. And now it appears we're going to see that again, more criticism from many fans. He said that he would like to challenge likes to face Zack Sabre Jr. Now, that's not a bad choice. I like to see how this match turns out because Zack Sabre Jr., I like his attitude. You know, he always tells people that are dickheads. I'm sure Orange Cassidy's going to take that like, whatever. But the most obvious thing is Orange Cassidy said he would like to challenge Zack at the Forbidden Door. I'm like, you know what? That would be great. I mean, we know that Orange did had a great match with Will Ospreay last year, but having Zack, that's even better. So I have to say it's going to be interesting. So it's still undetermined yet. Now we're not sure, but we're like almost like close, almost less than a month away till we have till we have Forbidden Door 2. We'll just gotta wait and see until that day. So if there's anything changes on that, I'll let you guys know. But for now, let's just call it a day. Okay, so hope everybody enjoys this episode. Now, keep in mind, I know some of you are thinking, "Hey, J Rod, you forgot about NXT Battleground." Well, keep your pantyhose on. I will actually do that next on the next episode. Uh, I was completely off track with everything because I was trying to make up for seeing Stardom, the Flashing Champions. But I got that done. But don't, just like I said, don't keep your pantyhose on. I will do the NXT Battleground next on the next episode. So relax. Haven't decided yet if there was any other events. I know there's been, like I said, I'm way behind on GCW. I'm gonna do those next since I'm a little behind on that. But like I said, I'm catching. I'm gonna catch up with everything else. Uh, so I'm probably gonna wing it for the next episode just for that, just to see how that turns out. So I think that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.